Hello, class. Hello, class. My name is Connor Kessler, and it's been a privilege to be in this class with you in traditions and world cultures and religions. And in light of the final exam and turning in this video, I would like to tell you 3 things that I learned in the class that I didn't already know. And I'm ashamed to say this, but the first thing I learned was I learned more about Buddhism. I did not know much about Buddhism coming into this class, and I realized how this sounds coming at the master's level. All I knew about Buddhism was that there were these people called Buddhists, and they worshipped Buddha. That's all I knew. I didn't know how they worshiped Buddha. I didn't know the point why they worshiped Buddha, but in this class I learned the origin story of Buddhism. I learned about Siddhartha Gautama, and I learned that many Buddhists consider him to be the founder, so to speak. You know, and I learned that Buddhism was all about this theme, this sense of enlightenment, and that Buddhists, the goal is for them to do work, certainly, but to reach a point of enlightenment. And that I knew reincarnation was a part of Hinduism. I did not know reincarnation was a part of Buddhism. So I learned that the reincarnation, it's where you live your life as a human, and then you die, but then you're reborn. And you see, Buddhists believe this process continues, that you're born, and you die, and then you're reborn, and you keep going through this continual cycle of being reincarnated and living more lives until you reach that point of enlightenment. I learned that Siddhartha Gautama, by many, is believed to be Buddha. I learned the origin story, and that one day he just sat down and he crossed his feet in the lotus position. And I learned that the Lord of Death would tempt him, Mara, and I learned that he would eventually reach full enlightenment, and that he would teach these followers everything that he knew. I just didn't know anything about that. And in learning that, I also learned how to how to witness, to Buddhists, and how to use some good scriptural support. And when I think of how to witness to Buddhists and good scriptural support, one of the good starting grounds, I believe, is going to the Old Testament and talking about where Elijah actually went to Mount Carmel to challenge some of Baal's followers. Now, Baal was not Buddha, but Baal was an idol. And it was a duel between the living Lord God and a false god, Baal, an idol. And we all know the story. God, the Lord, the Most High God, proved Himself. That on the top of Mount Carmel there, I think that would be a great place to take Buddhists, because Buddhists, they worship so many different gods. Polytheism, the worship of many gods, and I just think that showing them, taking the attention and showing them how the Lord God, as the Bible describes Him, He's real, He's holy, He's personal, and He's proved Himself through the Word. That's one thing I've just learned a whole lot about Buddhism. Furthermore, I've also learned a lot about Hinduism. So, number 2, I've learned more about Hinduism. I know that's broad, but I didn't know much at all. So, it's truly one of the things I've learned a lot about. Coming in, Hinduism, the only thing I really knew was they called themselves Hindus. And they also worship many gods. I knew that they come from Hindus, and they worship many gods. Again, they're polytheistic in nature. What I did learn is I learned that Hindus, they believe in the idea of karma, and so do Buddhists. But karma is something I've heard so much, and I really didn't understand. The only thing I understood about karma is you do good and good comes to you. You do bad and bad will find you, and that's kind of what it is. I believe that Hindus, they believe in the sense of karma, that if you are good and you bless others, blessings will come your way. And also, if you curse others, cursings will come your way. Furthermore, I learned that although there are many gods in Hinduism, the supreme god, or Hindus believe and profess in, is Brahma. And the whole goal of Hinduism is to be one with Brahma. That's the whole goal. Like Buddhism, they believe in reincarnation. They will be continually reincarnated until they're one with Brahma. That's what I learned about Hinduism. I learned that that's a goal, and although that there's these multiple gods they worship, the main one is Brahma. In fact, I learned in the book that Brahma created these other gods to be his helpers, and I had no idea. I had no idea anything about Hinduism, and those are just a few of the things that I've learned. And also, the final thing that I've learned, now I've learned a whole lot more, but just 3 things off the top of my head. I've learned a whole lot more about Jehovah's Witnesses. I'll be honest. I will confess that I did not know near as much as I should about Jehovah's Witnesses. And if I'm real, and if I'm honest again, that has prevented me in the past of debating them and speaking them and defending the hope that I believe in. Jehovah's Witnesses. I learned about their origin a little bit. I learned that it formed out of a Bible study, and they called themselves the Campbellites because Campbell was a founder. I learned that group, I learned about their involvement, or Watchtower's involvement with them. I learned that they have their own translation of the Bible because they believe all other translations are corrupted. The translation that they adhere and hold to is the New World Translation. I learned that the Campbellites, they would change their name to Jehovah's Witnesses. And I also learned that Jehovah's Witnesses, and again, I am ashamed to admit this because I did not know it. But I learned that Jehovah's Witnesses, I learned for a fact that they believe that only 144,000 people are going to heaven. And I had heard something in the past about they believe a certain number, but I learned where they got that from and where they get it. They get it out of context in a scripture and Revelation, and also just connecting with that fact of what they believe in. I learned that Jehovah's Witnesses already have at least 6 million followers. And it's kind of puzzling to me, honestly, because if they have 6 million followers and they believe that only 144,000 are going, then I think that's a good point to bring up when you're witnessing to them. Also, I believe that Jehovah's Witnesses, they removed the definite article in John 1:1. John 1:1 reads, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." The Word was the God. Well, they removed that definite article in the New World Translation where it is translated, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was a God." Because when you take out that definite article, it no longer becomes the Word was God, it becomes the Word was a God. And I didn't know this, but the Jehovah's Witnesses also believe Jesus to be Michael the Archangel. I did not know that. I knew that they did not believe the deity of Jesus. They did not believe Jesus is God. I did not know that they identified him as Michael the Archangel. And just in witnessing to Jehovah's Witnesses, I learned that a good place to take them was to the point in latter parts of John's Gospel where Jesus has died on the cross for the sins. He's risen from the dead. His resurrection has already occurred. And Thomas, he comes back to his disciples, and Thomas sees him. Now remember, Thomas doubted. Thomas had to see to believe, and Thomas got to see the holes through Jesus' hands. The holes. His feet, the hole in his side. And when Thomas replied, he said, "My God." When he replied to Jesus, he affirmed Jesus' deity. He said, Jesus, he said, my God, he knew that Jesus was the Son of God. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses in the New World Translation, they take away the definite article in John 1:1 where it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." They take away that definite article. Here, in this instance, in this passage, they don't. They let it be. Now, John 1, there's an obvious contradiction here. Jesus can't just be a God, but then Thomas refers to him as, the God, and they have that in their book in the New World Translation. It's a direct contradiction, and I say all that to say this: I believe that's a good place to start when witnessing to Jehovah's Witnesses and defending the truth and the hope that is within you, and defending the deity of Jesus as Jesus did often in His Word. Those are just 3 things that I've learned. Really glad to have taken this class, and thank you.